Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Real for Life podcast with Jesse and Joe coming at you live from an undisclosed bar in the North Spokane area. How the fuck are you doing, Joe?
Good. I know that you realize how every time I say I'm fucking tired, you got a little piece of that this weekend.
Yeah, so this is the first time we've recorded in the same room, and I can't tell if we have an echo or I'm just hearing you and then I'm hearing the delay.
Bit of both. Bit of both. I think my echo's a little high though. I'll turn down my echo.
Yeah, try doing that.
Is that better?
That's better. So these are the things that like real podcasts do before they start recording.
It's all about the experience.
Speaking of unprepared podcasts, I ordered probably the worst food you could order for doing a fucking podcast.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea.
And I have to hold my microphone because my microphone stand got crushed. I made some really killer stand-up paddleboard storage in my garage, like above the garage door.
Yeah.
Apparently I didn't make it well enough because one of them fell and came crashing down on the whole podcast setup.
It would have been hilarious if it was during the podcast.
Yeah, would have. But at any rate,
and I just realized how stupid of an idea it is to do this at this bar because you don't post the video anymore.
No, I'll post the video. I didn't post the video on the last one because we got a little too personal. And sometimes if we get a little too personal, I don't want to be canceled. So if there's actual video evidence,
gotcha.
I don't want that on the YouTubes.
You're gonna have to hold that mic closer to your mouth. Pretend you're in a Shawshank Redemption and just.
Joe, he climbed through 2 football fields worth of poop and came out a clean man.
Mm-hmm.
You got a list this week.
I have a very small list.
Some things never change.
Uh-huh.
What's on your list?
Well, I always fucking forget what topics we hit too. So it's like, was that last week's or this week's list? All right, let's. All right, summer dress was last week. I have The Labyrinth is 100 times better than The Never-Ending Story.
Agree.
Master P, No Limit Soldiers versus Swifties.
Ooh.
Customers asking my opinion. Ted Danza, I'm a moron. I'm known for it.
This is the longest list you've ever had.
I know. Getting hard in your 40s. Or sorry, not getting hard. Going hard. And my wife's been gone a week, so that's where my mind's at.
Oh,
going hard in your 40s. And that's just making fun of you in a conversation we had the other day.
Awesome.
I think we should start
about it. All right, let me spout off my list here.
Okay.
I have Mexican restaurant or Miss America pageant.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie the competition. I want to be young again, but in 2010. Is there a such thing as incels? Math, when you hit the point where you can't help your kids anymore. MAGA hat outing.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't sentence before they commit a crime.
What is the cells thing?
Incels. So my wife taught me about this. Apparently, it's this whole new genre of dudes where it's basically dudes that are like celibate, but involuntarily. So like, it's not that they want to be virgins; it's that they have no fucking choice.
Because they live in their parents' basement?
Yes, they're involuntarily celibate because all they do is hang out and play fucking video games, and no chicks want them.
I mean, that's a pretty closed case. So what was the question?
Well, there's always been incels, right? Or there's always been dudes that couldn't get laid, but I feel like that number is a lot bigger nowadays, just because it is a lot easier just to hang out in your fucking basement and play video games all day and not get it. Like they did a study recently, and it's something like 90% of women. Oh, it was the online dating services. It's like your Match.coms, your Tinders, your Bumbles.
I don't know what these services are. I've never heard of them.
JD.
I had to use Craigslist.
Yeah, we're old school. We had to still had to work for it, even when it was online. The point is, they did a study, and like 90% of the women on these websites are going after 10% of the men. So 10% of the men are fucking 90% of the women, and it to me that speaks volumes. Like that, nowadays there's not really an emphasis on a dude being like your classic attractive man of like, obviously like 5'8" white guy with too much body hair and wears a lot of flannel, right? But I still do what I can to be attractive to the opposite sex.
Right.
Whereas there's a ton of men nowadays that just don't give a shit because it's all this like, accept me for who I am. And like this notion of what do you bring to the table is gone. They just think that a girl should just want them because they're a fifth level paladin.
Right, because they don't cut their hair, shave, wear pajama pants in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 10% of the dudes are just mopping up. And because of that 10% of dudes that would be like a good life partner are now much less likely to commit to a relationship. Because if you're fucking getting 90% of the chicks out there, why would you settle down?
Right. I bet the population is going to drop in the next 15 years.
Yeah, you know what? And that's one thing that confuses me because so obviously there's a lot of conversation right now about like interest rates and, traditionally they'll raise the interest rates of housing in order to bring the housing prices down. But there's such a shortage of housing inventory that it's not having the desired effect. So housing prices stay high and interest rates go high. But how is there an inventory shortage when like nobody's fucking having kids in the last, I would say probably 15 years, right? Like most of the people that have 2 or 3 kids are like us. They're having 1 kid or 2 kids. So there's that.
I'd be curious to know, like when we were kids, I think the average male moved out of the house at like 30 or something ridiculous, which I thought was nuts.
Right.
I wonder what that is now.
Well, it's a good question. So that's one of the things that came up with this whole, and I'm sorry to dive into politics right away, but with the Trump assassination thing, that dude was 20 years old and his parents called the cops because they didn't know where he was for 3 hours.
Oh my God.
He was 20 years old. So they're just not pulling away from the teat.
No, that's terrible. Embarrassing.
Yeah. Like, I would be gone for 10 hours before my grandma even knew I was out of the house when I was 15.
Yeah, what was the that's what it was. I saw this, whatever you call it, meme the other day, and they're like, the way I was raised, you come home when the street light comes on, which I wasn't because I lived in the fucking country. But I do remember this commercial, and it was at 10 o'clock, a commercial would come on, and it said, "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?"
I remember that commercial because you had to remind parents, like, "Hey, remember those kids you had?
Yeah, go fucking find them.
Where they're at." Yeah, we were gone all the time. That's just, I don't know. Part of it's a generational thing, but the other part is that we grew up out in the fucking sticks, so there really wasn't a worry. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was the incels thing. It's just like, is there such thing as an incel, or is it just like dudes aren't dudes anymore?
Dudes aren't dudes, but they're not allowed to be dudes, and so then it's accepted as no dudes.
I do feel like the pendulum is starting to swing, though. Like a lot of the younger Gen Z dudes are starting to be a little more traditional.
Yes, and it's coming back. I mean, we had this conversation again, where like the 22 to 30-year-olds are kind of fucked, but the younger kids now are kind of like already sick of the shit.
Well, yeah, and that's so Vivek Ramaswamy, my favorite guy that I was hoping was going to be president. So he was at the RNC, and that was his speech. He was like, "Hey, Gen Z, you're going to save America. Do you want it? You want to be a fucking rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Try going to a college campus and saying that you're a conservative, standing up for family values, hard work, self-determination, self-responsibility."
Well, that football player just got like fucking slaughtered for it.
Well, so he shouldn't have, but yeah, that was the Jason Butker thing where, first of all, he was given a commencement speech at a Catholic university. And they, of course, the media took what he said completely out of context. He was like, listen, you got your education, you're going to go out, you're going to kick ass. But I would venture to say that the biggest joy you're going to have in your life is when you start your family. So, like, good on you for getting a career, but like, it's not the end all be all. Like,
There's
truly
more important
happiness is
shit.
raising your family. Yeah. And once again, at a Catholic university, which is, I mean, that's standard, right?
Right. You can't even wear condoms.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that whole thing was blown out of proportion. But anyway, so that's the incels thing. Let's go to one of yours.
Going hard in your 40s. So this all stemmed from a conversation I called you the other day, and you were taking a nap, and it was like 2:00 in the afternoon, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh well, you know, I had a pretty rough day yesterday. Like, got up, went paddle boarding, went to a barbecue," and I'm like, "So you had fun all day, and now you have to nap because you literally went paddle boarding and went to a barbecue, which you probably had what, 3 beers max?"
I don't drink a lot, but dude, I took a nap yesterday because
Yesterday was probably the most
Spokane.
I've ever seen you drink.
I know, and it was, well, the thing was, it was 2 drinking sessions.
Right.
Because we woke up at 5:30 so that we could get to the golf course to set up for the event. And then we did a full round of golf, drank a bunch, had a great time. I had 4 shots that were legitimate golf shots,
Mm-hmm.
which I think last year I had 2. So slow improvement. Yeah.
Well, then I was like, you did 2 things. You're like, well, then I got up and went to church and then went paddle boarding and went to a barbecue. And I'm like, so you had a day. So it reminded me of old school when they're like at that party and the girl's like, what are you doing tomorrow? And he's like, oh, we're going to get up early, go to Home Depot, maybe go to the Cheesecake Factory, might get into the Oklahoma or whatever.
Little Bed Bath and Beyond. I don't know if we'll have the time. My favorite line in that movie when he was like trying to get his wife back, and he's like, hey, how about we go get some Cold Stone and maybe pop in the Cisco CD? Because that's what I listen to when it's time to go.
That's a good subject. I don't listen to music. I never have. That's not true. I have, but it wasn't my choice. It was the other person's choice. And I'm like, do you go with the rhythm? Like, I don't understand the music.
I don't want music. So the only thing that we'll do is, like, once again, we get far too personal in this podcast, but like a nice massage music. Like, if you're going to start with a massage, you put in like the,
Chimes
massage music with chimes, some kind of like wind flute,
right?
Peruvian drums.
It sounds like you're really boring in bed.
Well, I mean, no, I'm not. How can I be boring when I do the same thing every time?
Like, I'm not gonna listen to like Barry Manilow. I think like techno would be more the jam.
So here's the thing: if you're making love with the wife and it's a normal night, no, don't fucking do music. But once in a while, it is fun to go out, get drunk, put on some music, and just kind of do something a little different,
Yeah, again, and that's happened. But I probably had sex more to Moana than music.
Moana?
We watch a lot of Disney movies to go to sleep.
And that's what gets you in the mood?
No. We just like literally we watch Disney Plus to go to sleep because you've seen the movie 1,000 times. So like
Right.
if I watch a movie I haven't seen, I'm gonna finish the fucking movie. I won't go to sleep. But
Yeah,
every Disney, huh?
I can't fall asleep when the TV's on. I get too engulfed.
But I totally don't give a shit about Disney movies. So there's a
Gotcha.
decent soundtrack. I'm gonna watch some Aladdin, and I'll probably fall asleep before he even meets the princess. Like, and Moana is kind of my go-to because it is a really good soundtrack.
All right, so let's say this hypothetical. Couple drinks involved. It's go time. It's an irregular session. You go to Spotify. What are you putting in? Just default, top of your brain.
I got not Van Halen.
See, this is, there's a famous saying, Joe. It's called those who fail to plan to fail. Okay.
We
Now,
have the six P's in my family.
me sitting over here, I've got what's called, where did it go here? I've got what's called the, where's my playlist, Joe?
Well,
I've
let
got
me
a
explain why you're fucking
yeah,
searching.
yeah. Uh-huh.
The
It's
six
called
P's.
90s couples only skate mix. Okay.
Oh
Now,
Jesus.
this is all songs that I've specifically put on here. Perfect music from the 90s to either A, skate couples only to. By the way, that's two skaters holding hands as a couple. If you're not skating couples only, please clear the floor.
Yeah, a lot of Mariah Carey for sure.
There's no Mariah Carey in there. Dude, we're talking like PM Dawn, Boys to Men, Montel Jordan. The good Cisco was with it's good stuff, Joe. That's all I'm saying.
Oh God. Okay, let me explain the six P's.
Okay.
Prior planning prevents piss poor production.
Okay. So why don't you have just in case love making mix?
We literally just had this conversation. I only have my like songs, and I don't have a playlist for anything. And like that's why I was saying like all of my shit's DMX, and like I need to like.
Oh, dude, I couldn't do it to DMX.
Oh God, no.
Clark-
I mean,
But you know what I
Rough
can do it to?
Riders.
Casey and JoJo.
That's solid. That's solid.
Yep. I roll in with the fucking nothing on but a Kangol hat.
I got some. All right, here are my playlists. Ready? Dermot Kennedy.
I don't know what that is.
It's really good. I introduced it to my sister like a couple years ago, and my niece was in the car, and she was like, "Is Uncle Joe depressed?" It's just very soft, good music. I'll play it for you later. It's pretty fucking good. So I got Dermot Kennedy, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Master P, Blink 182, Jack Harlow, Kevin Gates, Styx, and Post Malone.
And this is your mix.
No, this is just the last whatever 8 playlist on my Spotify. Like none of my it's here. Yeah, I guess that would make more sense.
See,
But
all my playlists are very carefully curated. And then I've got one very special song for a very special day, Tony Anniversary. So the full version of this song was literally made for anniversary sex. When you've been married for a long time, it's exactly 13 minutes long. And the rhythm changes in just the perfect way. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm kind of excited I brought up this subject because this is kind of fucking eerie and creepy. No, I'm just not a music. I mean, I love music, but like during is just fucking weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe when you're younger, it would make more sense. But, if you're ever in doubt, just pop in the Cisco CD because you know it's going to work.
Right.
All right. Did you already get one?
That was my one, the going hard in your 40s.
Okay. I'm going to go with Mexican restaurant or Miss America pageant. So the reason I brought this up, because there was like a pageant on TV the other day, and just flipping through the channels, whatever. Of course, I can watch a couple minutes, and it's like, these are all very well put together women. They're smart. They've got the talent portion, blah, 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 blah.
I feel like you should touch base on your earring method right now.
Earring method?
Earring theory?
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. We'll touch on that. The point is if you have the choice between Miss Washington, Miss Oregon, Miss Idaho, whatever, or literally any one of the half of females that work in any random legit Mexican restaurant, which way do you go?
Mexican restaurant.
Mexican restaurant all day.
Yeah.
There's always super hot Latina girls working at Mexican restaurants, and they have a pecking order. Much like in the Army, when you wear like your rank on your sleeves, you always know who the head waitress is by how big their hoop earrings are.
Yes.
Yes, the waitress that's been there the longest has the biggest hoop earrings.
Or multiple. They have like a huge one and a smaller one.
It's an unspoken rule, but I'm a big fan of well, I've always been a fan of Latin culture, but I don't know. Just any Mexican restaurant, take your pick. Just delightful.
Ooh, I had a subject. I don't think I should touch base on this. I got in a discussion with a friend of mine who's black, and they asked me what the politest culture was.
The politest?
Yeah. And I said Mexicans.
Absolutely.
And she was like, "You're out of your mind." I'm like, "Dude, you can meet a Mexican and go to their house and have a barbecue with their entire family in the same fucking day. Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Like, they're the most welcoming people on the earth.
With the best food.
Yeah. I mean, half my friends are Mexicans because Irish and Mexicans are pretty much the same people because we both like to drink a lot and don't give a shit.
Yeah. Work hard, play hard.
Yeah. And okay, this is not my quote. This is my Mexican friend calls me a European beaner because Ireland is basically Mexico to Europe.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Me and you drove lowriders in high school. We've always been a big fan of Latin culture.
Yeah, that's true. Shit, what was I going to touch on? Oh, customers asking my opinion. So like Ted Danza, Cheers. Like they go in there and always talk to him because he was like, what do you call that? Their muse, if you will. It like,
Rob Malone, Sam Malone.
Right. And he'd throw his leg up way high on the bar and like lean in and like have the conversation with them.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of what slowly happened here. And people will like come in and ask my opinion on shit and we'll have full conversations. And I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, why are you asking? Like, because I own a bar? Like, I just know this.
I mean, you're basically a social director in this area of town.
Yeah. And it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And that's the half other note where I'm like, I'm a fucking moron. I'm known for it. Nick.
Yeah, it's got to be weird. Nobody comes to me for anything.
Yeah, it's just strange. I'm like, I don't know when my opinion became relative at all. I mean, that's the whole point in this podcast is our opinions are stupid.
Well, hold on, though. So there's certain people in your life that just, it doesn't make sense at all, but for some reason, their opinion is very important to you. So you, as kind of a social hub in the community, regardless of the fact that you're a dumbass, because we know you, your opinion probably means a lot to them. So, and here's where I'll say, like, your dad, for some reason, like when we were golfing yesterday, I golf way worse when your dad is there because for some reason, your dad's opinion of me means more to me than like my dad's opinion.
Yeah, I love my dad. Obviously,
your dad's a man's man.
I can't golf with him.
Yeah,
because I always golf like shit. Because I'm always trying to like prove something, and I just golf like shit.
Yeah, and
I golf with him once a year at the tournament. Other than that, I don't golf with him, and I feel bad, but it's because I golf like shit. I golf with 5 dudes from the bar, intermittently. Everybody keeps their own score. We're all mediocre, and we just play yourself.
Yep,
and it's super fun. But for some reason, there's that thing in your head that you have to fucking prove something when you're golfing with my dad.
Yeah, it's twofold. Like, you know, your dad's obviously one of the most genuine, realist people in the world. And yeah, for some reason, like, even though I have very limited interactions with him, for some reason, your father's opinion of me matters. And I have no idea why. Then couple that with the fact that I don't get to see my brother as often as I would like to, especially now that we're like getting along really good.
Right.
But for some reason, I want to golf good in front of him also. And I think it has the same effect on him. Like, my brother's a fucking badass golfer, but because I'm there, I know
Because he's just trying to fucking kill it. Then he's all in his head and went to shit. I think that's half the reason he left.
It might be, but dude, he's proven himself many, many, many times over. The dude's just a fucking born athlete.
Right.
Golf's one of those games, though, that, like, as good of as a natural athlete as you are, I don't know how much that matters in golf.
Golf's
a special sport.
Like fucking John Daly, for instance, not an athlete,
right? But he's got that fucking.
But he has that mindset of just I don't give a fuck.
Huge balls.
And you have to have that mindset in golf. If you get in your head and you get frustrated, you're gonna lose your shit.
Yep.
You gotta say fuck it. I wish I smoked weed because it'd probably help.
Oh, 100% would. Yeah.
Right. Well, I would just fall over and pass out, one or the other. Weed scares the shit out of. That's another subject right there. I was like a stoner in high school, but like it was garbage.
Yeah, that's true. But I remember one time, because I was, you know, you were a typical teenage high school guy. I mean, you tried stuff and had fun. I was goody two shoes because I lived with my grandma, and she told me when I moved in when I was 13, she's like, listen, I already raised 5 kids. I can't fucking raise another teenager. So if you pull any bullshit, you're out. And so I never broke the rule. But I do remember, like, one of the things that really I was jealous of was all the kids in our school had the money to go like skiing and snowboarding. And I never had any of that. So literally the first thing I bought when I got my first job at the roller rink, wiki DJ, I bought a fucking snowboard, and I went up a ski hill. I won't say his name, but his name was Jeremy. And there was 5 of us in a slammed Honda Accord.
You got to hold the mic closer to your face, bro.
So
there you go.
So on your board on the right side where it says music, turn the dial up.
That's not it. You're cutting in and out.
That sucks. All right. Anyway, so there's 5 of us in a Honda Accord with subs in the trunk, bumping music, biggest hot box you've ever seen.
That's the most high school story ever. Okay.
Absolutely. Also, to this day, that was my second time ever snowboarding. I've never snowboarded that good since. Ever. Like,
oh God. I went over to my sister's friend once and I like barely knew him. And it was so weird because it was my sister's friend, and it was actually like one of my female friend's older brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And he brings out all these pills. And he's like, hey, take this, this, and this, and you'll have a great day. And I'm like, what?
I don't fuck with pills, dude.
What?
I don't fuck with pills.
But it was literally all it really was like a pain pill and Advil. And it was just basically to like relax your muscles, and then you just fucking murder it. But this isn't like high school. I'm like, dude,
oh man, yeah, I'm not doing pills. I put down Bonnie the Competition just because I was like telling this story to my wife the other day about how, like, when I got moved in 03, we went to Wisconsin. What are you doing?
The mic's the side, not the top. I think that's the issue. So when you hold it erect.
Oh my God, are you? Oh shit, that's way better.
Yeah.
Well, now I look like I'm holding a dick up.
Yeah, that's why I said erect.
Oh jeez. Well, we'll try
Black
this.
Hawk
Anyway.
down. Black Hawk down.
So we're in Wisconsin, and like tiny town, stuck on an army base, and there was one soldier. Her name was Bonnie. All the fucking male soldiers wanted her. Blonde hair, blue eye, Texas girl.
Well,
Stereotype.
that's just military hot though, because there's only one to choose from. So even if you're like a 6, it's a 10.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So there was a town about 30 miles away, La Crosse, and there was a girl that I had met there that I was kind of hanging out with that was like fucking awesome, like super cool chick, right? But because all of the other soldiers wanted Bonnie, it had nothing to do with the fact that this other girl I was seeing was way better. I just had to win the competition.
Yeah.
And being a standard dude, of course, I completely got rid of the girl that may have been awesome so that I could win competition, which of course I did.
Of course I did.
But then because I won the competition, like once that deployment was over, I'm like kind of on the hook. And it's like, so are we breaking up? What are we doing? And I ended up moving back to Texas for 6 months and being fucking miserable.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was a terrible decision.
Because I only did it because every other dude wanted her. And it's like, that's just standard bro life right there, where it's
Right.
like,
You even drink Vex.
throw-
Vex is terrible.
yeah, I will throw something in the trash just to win a competition against these other dudes so I could say, fuck you, I won.
That's literally why you do CrossFit.
I do CrossFit for other reasons, but yeah, but that is exactly the reason why CrossFit is the only workout regimen that works for me, because if I don't have somebody to look over at and compete with, I will not push as hard.
I will say, like, when we go to the gym together, because it is that silent competition, which you're in way better shape than me right now, and it's a little upsetting. Your traps are bigger than me, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
But I do fit in my side by side, so there's that.
I had to use the seatbelt extension today.
But when we do go to the gym together, there is that silent competition, and normally I'm like sore as fuck, and it's like, oh, so like there's like pushing yourself, which you think you're pushing yourself, and then there's like pushing your fucking self. Which my kid is huge into the gym right now, and I fucking appreciate it because I push the fuck out of him, and it's the only time he ever listens to me like fully. Teenagers are teenagers, but like him at the gym, he like respects my opinion. So I'm like, oh, you need to do this, and he does it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and we do different kind of workouts as well. Like, you're not going to be able to do the CrossFit workouts that I do. And
dude, I went to CrossFit a few times with you, and like the warm up, like you go there and there's the WOD, and I'm like, oh, I could do the WOD, and then you warm up 30 minutes and fucking murder you. I'm
well,
like,
it's always the same format.
Workout.
You warm up for like 10-15 minutes, then you do the strength portion, and then you do the WOD. And I distinctly remember when you came to Portland, we did the warm up, you did fine, and then it was back squats.
I can't do back squats.
You didn't do a single rep.
I can't do back. My arms don't go behind my fucking head. I can't do back squats.
And you can't go full depth because you have no hip mobility.
This is nope. Yep,
like
100%.
most people,
This is
like
all
most
my
people.
mom's fault. I have no ass, no legs. And there's nothing I can do about it. I look like SpongeBob. My parents call me SpongeBob, and I'm like, this is your fault. Like I didn't create this. You created this. This is your fault.
But then we got to the fucking WOD, which is supposed to be the whole point of the whole day. Like
let me back up real fucking fast.
Then you do the WOD. You didn't even do the WOD. You were like, I'm good. I'm gonna sit over here.
Yes. Let me explain the fucking warm up to the people. So they're like, oh, you can even get through the warm up. I did the fucking warm up. The warm up was rowing like 1,000 meters, and then you had to run like a half mile with a medicine ball above your head.
Yeah.
And then you had a duck walk with the same medicine ball, and then like 50 fucking wall balls, and then duck walk back, and then do that like 2 or 3 times or something fucking stupid. I'm like, that is a workout. That is literally the definition of a workout. And then they're like, oh, then we're gonna do some squats. And I'm like, no, I'm fucking done. That is it.
But that's kind of what pisses me off about it too, is like I can do all that, and I can, without fear of anything, say that I'm in much better shape than you, but you look more in shape. because you work out to be aesthetically good looking, right?
I work out to look good in a t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So you're working out, you're building the muscles that it takes to build in order to look good in a t-shirt, blah, 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 blah. Whereas in CrossFit, you beat the shit out of yourself. Your goal is to look a certain way. In CrossFit, the goal is to be in shape. Looking like you're in shape is just a byproduct of that.
Right. No, I get the premise. I
Yeah.
mean, I get CrossFit.
Yeah. Let's hit one of my. Oh no, it's your turn. Anyway, yeah, the Bonnie competition thing was just men are stupid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're all the same. And you try to explain that to people. I mean females and my children, because I have to say, I'm like, you never grow up. We all make dick jokes. It never goes away. They change a little bit. Like my kids make like the dumbest, immature dick jokes, but I'll still laugh at some of them. But then, like that's what she said. Like never goes away.
I just had that conversation with my wife the other day because she's applying for some jobs and she's kind of like intimidated about this or that. And it's like, no. Literally every job you look at, even if it's a fucking brain surgeon, those are just normal people. Like all of them are just people trying to do a job. Every single person out there has imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Dane Cook said it perfectly. Everybody cries, or everybody laughs, and everybody takes painful shits.
Yeah. True story.
Mine is just more to piss people off because I don't understand this movie and I've seen it 100 times. But The Labyrinth is a great movie.
Oh yeah, it is.
Bit rapey, super 80s, a lot of unnecessary cock shots, great soundtrack.
Yeah, it's literally a story about a dude in his 40s using magic spells and psychotropic drugs to try to coax a 16-year-old girl to marry him.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
Yeah. And the never-ending story is fucking terrible.
Sucks.
It's terrible. And my cat's name is Atreyu. But it's terrible.
Dude, the thing about the never-ending story is I really thought that quicksand was going to be more of an issue in our adult lives.
It doesn't really exist.
It doesn't even exist. But he lost his horse.
Yeah, the horse scene is like the saddest. Like, I don't need to watch this shit. I'm 6. Jesus Christ. The funniest part of all this is I always thought the goddamn dragon's name was Atreyu. Not. It's the kid's name is Atreyu.
What was the dragon's name?
I look this up every time.
Falcor.
Like, huh? Falcor. Yeah.
Falcor. That's a cool name too.
Yeah.
Large pink.
We had a friend, Chad. His dog's name was Atreyu. Looked just like the dragon. So he was confused too.
Wow.
So anyways, the fucking never-ending story is terrible.
Oh geez. All right. Bond competition. I want to be young again, but in 2010. I think the only reason I put that was because
we could build cars. We had to figure shit out.
Fashion was at its peak for females.
Yeah. Wait, when?
Look, 2010, low rise boot cut.
Yeah, then now it's going back to the 90s and it's fucking shit.
Internet dating was a thing, so you had that going on too.
Again, how to use Craigslist. And I've said this to people that are younger than me, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, personal ads. You had to like write a fucking ad. I mean, it was.
Oh, I know why I wrote this. What I meant was I want to be young again, like in high school, but in 2010, because fashion was awesome. You were at that sweet spot where people had smartphones, but they didn't fucking film everything.
Right.
So like it used to be like, say you get in a fight in high school, people talk about it for 3 days and you win, you lose, whatever, and then you never hear about it again. But nowadays it's like the fight is one of the people know it's coming. It's always a surprise shot and it's fucking filmed and it's on the internet forever.
Yeah.
And so it's just completely devastates these kids
Which it
losing a
should.
fight in high school.
I mean, that sounds fucked up, but like it not that it should. It is
It
real.
should be a learning lesson, not a shame session.
Correct.
And when you getting your ass kicked is on the internet forever, which is why I don't think they should fucking allow cell phones in high school. They just should.
Oh, dude, no, the cell phone's out the door.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as being young, like if you know, say you're in high school in 2010, you can still like look chicks up that you want to hang out with on their Facebook profile. You can gauge interest. You know, you
It was
can
so much easier. Everything
yeah.
was just easier. Again, we were car guys in high school. We didn't know the
Oh.
fuck we were doing. You could just YouTube shit now
Yeah, you had to actually build stuff for your cars.
and figure it out. You tear
couldn't
apart your
just go
car and
to-
you're like, oh, I just done fucked up. I don't know what I'm doing.
You couldn't just go to YouTube University. Like, I'm honestly
it's
amazed that our
pretty
cars were as
easy
nice
to
as they
borrow
were.
a torch and just melt all your shit and lower it though.
Yeah. Yep. On the flip side of that, though, like when we were in high school, I feel like we were pretty ingenuitive at getting things done with our cars, like building them up, like
On the lowest budget ever, yeah.
on the lowest budget with no knowledge. We had to learn everything. We had to teach ourselves. Whereas nowadays, because of YouTube University, any geek off the streets that's not even handy with the steel can come in and build a fucking lowrider. You know, they didn't have to put in the hard work. You know,
Did you know that came from Young Guns?
like you can't just be any geek off the streets, but now you can.
Right, but you know that came from Young Guns?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. I had to fucking explain this to my wife the other day, and she was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "That entire clip."
I understand you think it was Warren G, but it was actually Emilio Estevez.
No, it wasn't. It was the unknown guy, the boxer guy, and they called themselves the Regulators. And I'm just like, how has nobody put this together yet?
Jeez. Oh, I got to tell you about my MAGA hat.
It's
outing.
like fucking Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry. So after the assassination thing the other day, and I live in the Portland area, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to wear my MAGA hat today. Like, we just had a historic moment. Somebody tried to take out Trump. I'm wearing my MAGA hat. And it's not like a bright red hat. It's a black hat with dark silver writing. It says "Make America Great Again." And so it's not like in your face, right?
Right.
But after a historic event like that, I feel like more people are coming out of the woodwork and being like, I refuse to be shamed for supporting a presidential candidate, right?
Yeah.
So I wear my MAGA hat out and I go to Home Depot and I'm a little self-conscious about it, right? But I go about the business and I'm making sure to be extra nice to everybody just because, you know, you want to send a good message. So I get to the checkout and it's this like short Mexican lady at the checkout and I'm like, oh fuck, I hope I don't offend her. It's not my goal. And then I'm like, well, there's nothing offensive about this. Why am I self-conscious about it? Right.
Right.
So I go up there and she's like, oh, how you doing today? And I was like, oh, good. And she's like, oh my God, I love your hat. Is that custom? And I was like, oh no, you can get it on Trump's website, campaign website. And she's like, did you see what they tried to do to him yesterday? I was like, yeah, I know. It's crazy. She was like all about it, right? And then she looks around as if like the FBI is spying on us. And she's like, you know what? I think it was an inside job. And she just fucking goes into this tirade. There's a man in the bushes. Red team go. Red team go. And she was all about it. And it just goes to show, like, I feel like there's a lot of supporters out there that just don't like, because we've been shamed for so long into thinking that, you know, this guy's Hitler, that you're just not allowed to support him.
Right.
Which goes into my last subject that I wrote down, which was you can't sentence people before they commit a crime. So after this assassination attempt, a guy named James Clue, he's kind of man on the streets kind of guy. He goes around YouTube videos and just like, hey, this just happened. What are your thoughts? And he typically either goes to like Orange County or Venice Beach. So he was in Venice Beach. And he was just, hey, you know, Trump assassination attempt yesterday. What are your thoughts? And all these people are like, oh, it's you know, it's a deep fake. it was planned. Or like, oh yeah, it was staged. He just wants more publicity. And this one guy was like, yeah, it's too bad he missed. And he's like, whoa, what do you mean? And he's like, well, he missed, but there will be 100 more people that try it and they won't miss. So we're good. And he's like, are you advocating for violence against a political opponent? And he's like, absolutely. Trump's too dangerous. He can't lead. He needs to be gone. And it just kind of goes to show you like the level of hatred that people have.
Which is insane because the president doesn't have that much fucking power.
No, and check the receipts. Like, I'm not a big believer in the results of the last election. You will never convince me that 81 million people voted for Biden.
No, that's bullshit.
But regardless of how you feel about that, Trump did have a peaceful transition of power. He left the White House.
Right.
So
he's a pretty honorable dude. He fucking went golfing the next day.
Oh, the dude's a boss.
Right.
He stands up, fist in the air. Like that'll be one of the most iconic images of the 21st century. It's crazy.
Yeah, if Time Magazine still existed, that would be on it.
Yeah.
Does it still exist?
My point in this, when I watched that video, it made me think back because everybody, unfortunately compares him to Hitler, which I hate that. I hate it when people, why does everything have to be compared to Nazis and Hitler, right? But when we were growing up, you always had that question that people would ask, like, well, if you could go back in time and just kill Hitler as a baby, would you do it? And everybody says yes. And now back at that, and I'm like, I don't know that would be right to do. Like, don't get me wrong, Hitler bad, Hitler bad, Hitler bad, right? But you can't kill somebody or punish somebody for a crime before they commit it. You can't. That's the entire theme and the entire plot behind Captain America Winter Soldier. They build these huge fucking float in the sky ships that are able to read everybody's DNA and predict crimes before they happen and take them out before they happen. And Captain America's like, every time we try to punish people for a crime before they commit it, it goes bad. That's tyranny.
Yeah.
So, let's say Hitler builds the concentration camps, arrests Jews, starts moving on this stuff, take him out. Totally get it. But like teenage Hitler just trying to figure stuff out, like I can't grow facial hair here or here, so let's just go with this weird little nose poop stain. Like you can't kill that guy. He hasn't done anything yet.
Right.
So, and I hate, I'm not defending Hitler. Hitler bad. But I'm saying like with Trump, with literally anybody, we have a justice system for a reason, and we have to make sure that we hold on to that justice system. And the biggest thing in this country, innocent until proven guilty. Like you can't just go and deem that it's okay to kill somebody because you don't like their political beliefs. Like, I know you don't like Trump, but I don't care what you say. He's not Hitler level.
Not even fucking remotely close.
Yeah, and you don't deserve to be the one that decides that, oh, this guy's too dangerous. We have to kill him because we can't beat him at the ballot box.
He's literally the polar opposite of Hitler. He's trying to get the people out of the government that are abusing their authority.
Yeah, well, and you also have to look at the irony of, the left's whole talking point of this election is we have to vote for Biden to save democracy. So Biden dropped out today. And once again, check the receipts.
He doesn't know it yet, but
right,
it happened.
Check the receipts. In 2016, the DNC hated Bernie Sanders, but their voters loved Bernie Sanders. The RNC fucking hated Trump, but the primary voters, the Republican base, liked Trump. So the DNC said, fuck you, Bernie Sanders, fuck you, voters, you're getting Hillary. Deal with it.
Yeah, that worked out.
And the Republicans said, we hate Trump, but that's who the voters want, so I guess we're running Trump, right? And now we're in the exact same situation. The Republicans held a primary. Trump won overwhelmingly, so they're running Trump. The DNC was like, yeah, we're not doing primaries. I don't care how much people love Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're running Biden.
Which is saying, like, I've said this for years, and you always say it's throwing away a vote, but I always vote libertarian.
I don't think it's throwing away a vote. I think voting for
But
a principle
there's
is
so many
a
people
good
that are
thing.
libertarian, they don't realize they are,
Right.
or they don't know that it even fucking exists.
Right.
And if enough people actually voted for that fucking party,
Mhm.
it could happen. And it fucking needs to happen.
Oh, it absolutely could. You got to get a good third party candidate though. Like, I just don't think there's been a good enough third party candidate yet. I mean, RFK, he's got some good points, but he is very liberal, very pro Green New Deal,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
terrible.
And the libertarian candidate this year, I don't even know the libertarian candidate's name. I think Vivek Ramaswamy would have been the best bet for a third party libertarian candidate.
You follow this shit way more than I do. I went down the rabbit hole years ago. Laurel got me into I forget his name, some podcaster who's very intelligent. He's a lawyer. He was on the Reagan administration. Like, he's very smart. Oh, Mark Levine.
Oh yeah.
And like, you start going down that rabbit hole and you just start fucking losing your mind. I'm like, how have you not had a stroke? And then we stopped talking for like 3 months because we got in a political argument, because back then you were super far left and retarded.
Sorry, buddy.
And after that, I was just like, dude, this isn't important to me. And it should be. And I kind of listen, but I'd rather be an ostrich.
Well, it's in the 80s and 90s, I would say, even for the average adult who had skin in the game, politics were maybe 2 or 3% of your day. Now they're like 20 to 30.
Because the fucking internet, everything's force fed
exactly.
to you.
And that's not good.
It's right there. Information is right there constantly.
And it sucks.
Yeah, but, and that's not right.
Just to finish my point here, though, the DNC in 2016 said, fuck you, we know better than you. You're getting who we give you. And now they're doing it all over again. They denied Democrats a primary, and now Biden's out. And you're going to have these delegates in positions. Yeah, I'll do one more. You're going to have these delegates in positions.
Now we're going to get Condoleezza Harris.
That are either going to choose Kamala Harris or Michelle or whoever. The point is you know who doesn't get to choose? The actual Democratic Party voters, the base. Once again, their voice does not matter, and yet somehow they still believe that they're the ones saving democracy. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So
again, it will never fucking happen ever. But if Candace Owens could just run for president,
she'd be a good libertarian candidate.
The whole right would vote for her, and it would just implode the left.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a libertarian. I think both sides are stupid as shit. I honestly think you should vote liberal local and Republican presidential, because this is a business. It has nothing to do with your fucking feelings.
Well, I'm going to say something very unpopular, but I'm tired of shielding it. I am a MAGA Republican. I am an America first, equality for everybody, MAGA Republican. I feel like I just went to an AA meeting right there.
Did you just come out of the closet?
I think I did. Let's lighten it up for my last subject. Actually,
yeah, I don't think that have we said anything funny?
Not a fucking thing.
Should I tell a joke?
Sure.
I don't have a joke. I'm just saying, well,
why don't you hit one more subject? And my last subject is pretty weak sauce, but it's relevant to life these days.
Oh, Master P and okay.
I love Tupac.
Oh, I love Tupac. Fuck. I was kind of intoxicated when I wrote that note, but basically I'm listening to a lot of Master P again because he was great for his time, and he's still fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You ain't no motherfucking Master P. But it was kind of like the pinnacle of rap music. And then Cash Money existed, and then it kind of went to shit, and now they do like mumble rap. But like Master P was like the pinnacle of rap, and then it changed.
Dude, what's the song where he talks about like how to make crack cocaine?
Make crack
Dude,
like this.
I fucking love that song. That and Bourbons and Lax.
Yeah, Bourbons and Lax is probably one of the
Dude.
greatest rap songs.
No rapper within the last 10 years has made anything even fucking close to that.
Right. But like, so you can't, you used to, well, people still do because like Yellowstone and shit. But like, so like people listen to rap music. So we like fucking drove lowriders, right? And it was like an image thing.
Dude, it's the price you pay when you're rolling in Hondas. We'll tell that story someday.
Yeah. But the Swiftie thing, like I don't get it. She's awful. She's fucking horrible. Okay, let's rewind. She's not horrible. She's not awful. She's mediocre as fuck. Her lyrics are mediocre. The sound, I'm sure the production value is amazing. I'm sure the concerts are amazing because she has money to fucking do these concerts.
She's universally mediocre, so she captures the largest audience.
Right.
She's not offensive in any way. She's also not attractive in any way.
No, she looks like a Napoleon Dynamite. She has, sorry, I'm going to sound really sexist right now, but she has no ass or tits, and her face is wah. Like she's all of her as a human. I'm sorry, I'm sure she's a sweetheart. I don't know, but average. Everything she does is average. Music, her average. There's nothing spectacular, and she's murdering it right now, and I don't understand.
I think Nikki's looking over here like, this fucking podcast sucks.
I guarantee Nikki's not a Swiftie. She's wearing a Jelly Roll t-shirt.
That's fucking awesome.
Talent right there. Talent.
Oh yeah, dude. Jelly. And the thing I like about Jelly Roll is he did the rap thing, then he did the country thing, and he kind of just does what he's like Post Malone.
Right.
Like he's not pigeonholed into one genre. Whatever mood he's in at the time creatively, that's what he does.
Yeah.
And he does it well.
Yeah. I just introduced Post Malone to my dad because he's like, because he did the national anthem or whatever.
I think no, he did. You talking about the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
He did God Bless America.
Right. And my dad's like, absolutely this guy?
By far the best pre-Super Bowl show ever. Post Malone doing God Bless America and Chris Stapleton at the national anthem.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah. But he looks like a freak. My dad's judgmental.
Right.
And so I'm like, dude, you would love this dude. Just listen to his music. Because he goes country, he goes rap, he goes pop. Like he's all over the board. And everything he does is amazing.
Yeah. The dude's awesome. The last subject I had for today was just something that's happening more and more nowadays where I realize that I'm dumb as shit. So my kid's going into third grade. So, my wife has him doing like homework over the summer, like for math. And so right now, when she's at work and I'm home during the day, I have to like proof his math.
Yeah.
And I can't, this is third grade level math. And I'm like the addition and subtraction, I get. And when he misses a question, I have to like explain to him how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as he gets into multiplication and division, I don't remember how to do that shit. So like your kids are older. What is it like when your kids at the point where you can't help them with their homework?
It's been 2 years. The last 2 years, he'd be like, can I help? Or can you help me? I'm like, dude, and my dad murdered it on this, and I fucking despised it. So we'd be up at 2 a.m, and he would like go to the back of the book, read, and try to figure it out with me. And I'd be like, I'm just going to ask the fucking teacher in the morning. He's like, no, we're going to do this. So kudos to my dad to
Yeah,
force
that's
me to
awesome.
do that shit.
I
But
never had
like,
that.
it was miserable, and
I couldn't even read till 3rd grade. I had no
I'm
help.
I would say I'm pretty good at math. I'm mediocre. Like for the average human, I'm probably like in the 55 percentile.
Mhm.
My wife, terrible at math. So even in like 2nd grade, she's like, "Nope, this is your subject. You're doing this." I'm like, "Cool." So it got to a point. This is the irony as well. So they do like Common Core math right now, and everybody fucking hates it,
Mhm.
and I love it because I've been doing math that way my entire fucking life. Because
I
that's
don't
how
even know what it is.
you're basically you group things by 10.
Okay.
And that's the basic semantics of it is you group everything by 10. And then that's how I did math. And I would get in trouble for it because they were trying to teach whatever way to do math then. And that way did not make fucking sense to me. So I'd group everything by 10 and write little notes to the side. And the answer would be right, but I did it wrong. So I would not get in trouble, but get like less credit. I'm like, but the answer's right. Well, yeah, that's true. But now that's how they do math. So I think it's fucking hilarious. So all these parents out there that are like pissed on Common Core math. I'm like, dude, this is how I've been doing it my whole fucking life. So that helped a lot with teaching him math. But now the math is beyond like as soon as they do letters in math, I'm fucking
Bitch,
out.
what the fuck do you mean 2 plus X equals C3PO? What the
Right.
fuck?
Dude,
That's
I
like,
had to find the area of a circle the other day and about blew my fucking head up. I was like,
yeah,
dude, I
I'm not
know
gonna
how
be
to
able to
do
do that.
this, and it's been so it's I think it's like radius times circumference or some fucking shit. And I'm just like, I haven't done this in so goddamn long. My favorite math story, not my favorite, but like so, every kid's like, when the fuck are we ever gonna use this math? And
Oh, dude.
one of the teachers was like, "Oh, farmers. Farmers use this math all the time because of their crops and X, Y, and Z." So I went to the local farmer that I worked for, and I'm like, "Gary, do you use this?" He's like, "Fuck no."
So lucky for me, my wife's really good at math. But one of the best lessons I learned growing up, I can't remember if I told this on podcast or not, but literally one of the best lessons I learned growing up was math class, like algebra. And me and this girl named Elena were in class, and we were both like, we would challenge the teacher, like, this is fucking stupid. When are we ever going to use this in the real world? And we would like rebel against him, right?
Right.
So I'm like rebelling against him. I'm not doing the homework. I'm getting a D on the test. And then we do a test. I look over at Elena. She got a fucking A plus. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you thought this was stupid. And she was like, well, it is fucking stupid, but I also want to go to college. So
You're
I'm
like,
playing
and
the
we're like, "What
game.
the fuck is college?"
Well, yeah, never an option. Never even thought it was an option.
No,
But
never in my entire childhood to 18 did I ever think college was even tangible. Like people were talking,
no,
is it the SATs that
my
you take?
parents and my grandma never ever talked to me about like, do you want to go to college? Never
Right.
an option. I knew there was no money for it.
Is it the SATs that you take to get to college?
ACTs, SATs,
Whatever.
never an option. Never
Never took
talked
it.
about
Never
it.
even thought about.
Nope.
Like it was never even.
Yeah.
I mean,
Parker's already got more money in his fucking college savings account than I've ever had in my savings account, like my personal one before I met my wife. So, where was I going with? Oh yeah, the point is that Elena was like, no, I think this is bullshit, but I still want a good grade. Like she played the game,
right.
and she realized that whether or not you like something, if you want to succeed, you fucking learn it because
Yeah.
that's the only way to change it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Parker's getting to the point where I'm not going to be able to help him with his homework, and I feel like a dumb piece of shit. Luckily, my wife is able to help him with that.
I mean, he's Asian, so he has to be good at that.
He actually, like, let's just be real here. Stereotypes exist for a reason. They play on averages, and my son is very naturally gifted in math.
I can't
He's
dance.
he does these math questions, and you know how like so say you're doing like a big, let's just say a normal what's it called when you add stuff together?
Addition?
Yeah, he's doing.
Apparently you're illiterate as well.
Okay, let's do subtraction. So you know how like if you're doing subtraction and it's like you can't take 7 from 3, so you have to borrow from the next number, and
Yeah,
then
so you're
this
grouping by
becomes
10.
13. So like I have to like cross this out, write down what it is now, and then I have to cross out the 3 and write 13, right? And
Okay.
that's how I do the thing. Parker's going into 3rd grade. He doesn't have to write any of that down. He just knows it in his head and gets the question right. I'm like, but how did you remember? And then you carried the 2. I don't know how he does it.
I will tell you though, like
Big
so
relief. It's seriously like when he did that, it was like that scene in Forrest Gump where Forrest is like meets his kid and he's like, now he's smart or is he like me? Fuck.
So I don't know if it's I'm drunk, but at the end of golf, like adding up your golf score is always really difficult.
Fuck that.
Because it's all small random numbers, and you're like, oh fuck, okay, blah 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 blah. So did you ever learn the thing where like a one obviously doesn't exist, but 2 has 2 points,
Mm-hmm.
and then a 3 has 3 points, and a 4 has 4 points,
Yeah.
and a 5 has 5 points. And so when you're adding it up, you count the points on the actual number.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, that's how I do golf scores. Because I'm like, all right, or I'll do like if there's never a bunch of 3s. Let's be honest. So I'll do like the groups of 5s first. I'll do the groups of 3s first, and then I'll just times them. But then I'll count some points.
You know how I get around that?
Huh?
I've never kept score playing golf ever.
Loophole. Just don't count.
No, I do per hole. That was a par 4.
Oh, so you do +1.
I got 6, usually, probably 8. And then I'm just like, okay, I got 8 on that hole. On to the next one. And my goal each hole is to just get par. If I don't get par, why the fuck would I keep score? I'm not meeting my goal. So I'm just, here's a point, Joe. If you don't record your score, you never fail. Okay?
If
Dreams
you have no goals,
if you never have a goal,
suckers.
you never fail. Dreams are for suckers. I think we can end it there.
Yeah, dreams are for suckers.
Well, it was really fun getting to do a podcast in the same room and getting to visit Spokane.
Ironically, I can't see you still.
Well, I'm right here. Yeah. Hold on.
There you are.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, I have to. Yeah, it's not worth it. Anyway, till next time, this is Jesse and Joe with the Real for Life podcast. Still looking for that elusive first sponsor.
Yeah, and remember to spay and neuter your animals.
I know you're out there. Be a bro, share the show. See you next time.